half the race left. He's still got Sexton behind him, which Sexton probably didn't really care if he needed to pass him, not because he knew the title, man. But the guys in front of him, RJ wanted to be up front, and I just thought it was kind of odd that they were crowding him at halfway point with only being up one point. Still anything could happen, but again, it goes back to everybody giving what RC or AC had done all season, that he had he's delivered. He had, but he made some fucking stupid mistakes as well. Boom, they're back.
Yeah, I think Alito came out of the tunnel and tackled him off his own bike.
Alito Cianciarulo.
Yeah,
which is a shame. And to watch those 2 rounds, Mitch did a lot for me over the years on my bikes, and to see the crush in his eyes when Faulkner
see the camera cut off. To him.
Yeah, both times it was just like, man, you could just see the energy and the disappointment and all the work that those guys do on all the teams. All those late night work, all those night hours just went to shit. Yeah, that's why I was so harsh on that post. I'm like,
what do you think the pre-race talk between Mitch and AC was?
That's a good question. I think that they would just said, hey man, go out there and do what you got to do. Put in your laps. You're faster than most of these guys. Keep the mistakes limited. It's a slippery track. It's a pretty gnarly track. That was one of the best Vegas tracks I'd seen in years. They got rid of that stupid freeway that comes out of the back. They went clockwise instead of counterclockwise, where I think it was a nice change of pace. One of the better tracks I've seen. A lot of technical rhythm sections, but that's one of the gnarly tracks. What is it, a minute 10 lap time or something like that?
It's always usually a longer lap time.
Always longer with outside, obviously going outside around in a lot of lanes. But it's a track that can beat you and sneak up and grab you, obviously. And so I'm assuming that Mitch just said, do what you got to do. If you get a bad start, work your way up methodically. We'll keep you up to date on the pit board. But what is that now? 2 years in a row now. I think about Savacci got it ripped out of his hands by Osborne. I think Mitch and the guys might want to get rid of Vegas off the schedule.
Now, do you think the talks between Mitch and AC was similar to the talk between him and AC prior to East Rutherford when he blew out his knee?
Oh, you mean Faulkner?
Or yeah, Faulkner.
I don't know. I read the same articles you do that Steve Mathis talks about how Mitch, is pretty harsh on his guys, on his riders, pretty adamant of how to go out and when you fuck up, he lets you fucked up. And so I don't know what the conversation would have been after either one of those. Do you think, I don't know if Mitch went and laid into the guys and said, what the fuck, all the work we've done, you guys both just blew it, or?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if his approach was different in both cases.
I don't know. I haven't been in that truck in a lot of years, so I don't know. It goes back to college, college sports. Either Bobby Knight that berates your kind of players, but breaks them down and builds them up, or do you coddle these younger millennial kids and tell them they're the greatest, and no matter what, that you're
Pet
fast and
after the races,
and you're a good boy, you're a good boy. You got a blue ribbon, good job, and so I don't know.
I don't think that one's proven to work.
What?
I don't think that proved to work much.
The coddling approach? Yeah. No, I don't think it works at all in dirt bikes. It's mono shit. That's why, again, was so harsh. It's like, man,
there's no crying.
You're paid hundreds of $1,000s to win. And if you look at who liked the posts, it's the veterans of our sport, from world champion Pichon to the GOAT to local guys and Michael Treadwell, guys who deliver at home. It's just like they agree that it's something that's instilled in you as a kid. Your parents drive you around the country, they put you on the line, and you're expected to win. That was me, at least.
That was the opposite of me.
And that's kind of, Cody and I had talked about that last night too.
Also, what the difference between you and I is you're a supercross champion, and I'm just a fucking a local dude.
Well,
still rides dirt bikes late in his life.
For me, it was that I was in 70s and early 80s. There was a lot of racing around the Midwest, and so my dad would just take me to any track in the in the Midwest. There was no internet, so you don't know who the fast guy was. You would show up, and my goal was beat the fastest local kid. And on his track, which I'd never ridden except that morning in practice, and 99 out of 100 times I did, and that was just. And I'm not unique by that, but I think you get to where AC and you become a pro. That's something that's instilled with you very young and very early. That when you're on the gate, you the most pressurized thing you can do. You somehow the gate drops and you just fucking are in a zone.
Yeah,
you are literally in a zone. You're like boom, point. Boom, 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 and race is done. And you feel like you're almost going to throw up your mouth because you're like, did I even breathe that entire time? Like, you don't even remember what you did.
So knowing Don the way that I do, Don, your dad, I think the difference is between your racing as a young amateur and me with my dad is if you didn't go out there and beat the fastest guy or you didn't go out there and win, you might get yelled at by Don. We got back. Whereas my dad, he was just happy that I was having a good time. We got to share experiences. I didn't get hurt, and look forward to the next weekend and do the same thing.
And it didn't really, it didn't start that way with us. I mean, he raced. I got a bike just because I wanted to, and he thought it'd be cool to take.
Yeah, obviously, once he showed talent and
once it started
potential,
getting bigger, and he's a former Marine, he's a former drag race champion, so he started like, okay, well,
that's the other difference. My dad's Air Force,
but he was still
Marine.
But he was still, it was still about having fun. But it wasn't like it wouldn't berate me, but it was just like I just knew the pressure to deliver because I knew all the time, the effort, and we'd go down and drive in Oklahoma City. He'd work all day on a Saturday. He'd get off work. He'd drive all night for us to race on Sunday, and then we'd drive all the way home, 8 hours home.
Isn't that crazy?
And so he'd go to work on Monday.
The shit that dads did.
Crazy,
yeah,
crazy.
I would fucking never do that.
And so it becomes something. Again, it's a belief that's instilled with you that you don't let down the people who put the hardest work in you.
Right.
And so when the gate drops, you fucking are 100% focused. And
at the end of the day, you can only try as hard as you can.
And it can only try as hard.
100%.
Mechanic mistakes do happen, and because motocross is not that simple. It's sometimes the shit just reaches up and grabs you by the balls and drags you to the ground.
Yeah.
So I feel for AC, and I didn't mean to bash him personally, but I felt for the pressure that Mitch had been through and see the disappointment in his eyes again and know how much work those guys do. But there can only be one champion, and it turns out that Ferrandis is a clutch.
Man, your Instagram has been a little bit heated as of late, huh?
Yeah,
some K-dubs, and I don't mean Kevin Windham. I mean keyboard warriors.
People were some angry sons of bitches, man. I'll tell you, they were getting like cutthroat personal. It's unbelievable how
it
evil.
Sounded like they wanted to meet you out in the parking lot.
It's crazy how mean people want to get and just start calling you out and saying the most evil shit. And I'm just like, man, this isn't a pissing contest. I'm just stating my opinion. You don't have to be a dick about it.
Yeah, the unfollow is right there.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't like what I'm writing, then stop fucking reading it. So I don't know. And let's talk about the 450 class. Obviously, Webb reached the pinnacle of his life and his career, which was outstanding.
Breakout year.
We've talked about over and over on the show on how fantastic he rode and how clutch he's been every round.
And it sucks because I think there's a few riders that had they not gotten hurt, they would have had breakout years as well.
Mookie. Breakout to win?
No,
just good years.
Yeah, like uncharacteristically good years.
Mookie was riding really well. That femur sucked.
Dino was doing very well.
Dino was killing it. Again, motorcycles are brutal.
Yeah, like I said before the show, 6 riders. Only 6 riders scored points every single round.
And that's
kind of.
I wonder what the average of that is. I wonder what the yearly average of that is.
You think it'd be?
I think it may be 6 to 10 consistently. I don't think. I think maybe one year it might have been 4.
Yeah,
I remember because Mathis sometimes covered that on Racer X, and I think I remember reading one year that might have been only 4 guys that had scored points.
And that's testament to how fucking gnarly and maybe how long, how
17
excessively
rounds.
long.
17 rounds is pretty brutal indeed. Yeah. It becomes a part of survival. And once again, I mean, I was cool to see at least Roxon stay healthy all through the season. Marvin stayed healthy. Eli stayed healthy. And so, I mean, Coop flat ass beat the best.
Yeah.
There was no excuse. They didn't crash. They didn't miss around like,
no asterisk.
No asterisk next to his name.
Yeah.
And Eli proved it. He didn't win more mains, did he? I think
Coop had 7, I think, and Eli had 6, or is 8 and 7.
Yeah. So you win the most mains, and you proved your point. So that was fantastic. I saw the elation in his eyes. Someone had said, I think it might have been you, Cody, in Vegas. Somebody ran into him after the races and asked him about the outdoors or something. He's like, "Who the fuck cares, man?"
Yeah, that was Webb, right?
Yeah,
right.
Like let me enjoy this for the moment, and it'll be interesting. He's too big of a competitor to when it gets to the point for outdoors. I don't see him having a supercross hangover personally, but I can definitely see him enjoying it.
Enjoying getting his ass handed to him by Tomac, maybe.
I don't know, man.
I think he always enjoys it.
Getting his ass handed to him, or
just enjoys life.
Cooper.
Cooper's he's always been out there. You know what I mean?
I think he's a passionate racer. I think he enjoys it immensely. He enjoys the competition. I think he loves the competition aspect of it, and I think we really saw that this year. He thrived in the most uncomfortable situations where the pressure was on him, and everyone else was yard sailing and crashing, or he's in Denver and he's got to pass Eli's teammate, and the track's slippery. it's like, man, he just rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't handed to him. It's a little bit of sprinkle of the good gods of motocross of low luck.
Man, there was a lot of that.
But, you know, as we've all said, luck and what luck is when preparation opportunity meet. It was just a cliche, but it definitely was his case this year.
That's on Cog's business.
He had said that the other day. Yeah. And he said it very dryly. We missed Cog today. I didn't talk to him today.
No, I haven't talked to Cog about a week.
That
was a good show though. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. We had one of our last week was one of our better viewed shows, and I think because Cog was a lot of part of it, and nothing against you, Nick, but
hey, Cog's an industry guy. He's been around for a long time. You guys are like peas and carrots, so
peas and carrots. Sometimes you just
Forrest and Jenny,
like brothers that you just want to rip his head off 1 minute, and then you want to give a big hug the next.
Yeah,
I have a lot of friends like that, Cody. Well, what do you want to talk about next?
You just had to make it weird, huh? I thought we were bouncing off each other pretty well there.
I know. No, I wasn't making it weird. I'm just was. Let's talk about the tickle suspension real quick. You were a health nut. You're very fit young adult. What do you think about this tickle bullshit coming across? He's going to be suspended
exactly
one more year.
It is. It's bullshit. I mean, who's the governing body behind that? That's WADA, right?
WADA and FIM.
Okay. So
Davey Coombs kept speaking pretty that someone that was on it this year, and you know they were going to be on it. It's this new president of the FIM or something, which was American friendly, was going to discuss this shit and get this shit handled.
So, how long has Tickle not been able to race dirt bikes?
A year.
It's already been a year, and now you said earlier that it was like a 2-year deal starting like now.
It's retroactive to San Diego last season.
Oh, so he's got another year.
So it'll take him through midway of Supercross.
Okay.
Of next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the next, yeah. Okay, it's already been a year, so he cannot race again until we can race in 2020.
I mean, why did it take so long for that to come out? And where did they get 2 years? Are they pulling that number out of their ass? Are they making up the rules as they go?
You know, a lot of that stuff comes back to the Olympics because it's Olympic governed sports. So they want to, that's where the 4-year ban comes from. Or maybe it's a 2, because they want to be able to fuck that athlete for the Olympics. You know, if you only ban them for a year, they can still go back to next year into next Olympics. So I think that they do that on purpose to screw that athlete over because, you know, they don't want them to compete in the next Olympics. But obviously motocross has very small windows of opportunity to succeed. You rip 2 years out of a kid's life. And it's a career change. You basically killed the career because he took a protein mix that had some shit in it, you know, that is stupid, which doesn't mean anything in motocross. You know, I still don't understand the relationship between AMA and FIM and this whole bullshit. It's like, I can't believe AMA doesn't say, you know what, as far as we're concerned, what he took wasn't that big a deal. We're going to let him race.
Right.
Stick in your ass, FIM. We don't really care.
Yeah.
That's
so
Feld's deal.
Is that Feld? Is that Feld that handles that?
Feld hires FIM.
Well, it's something to do in a while back.
Adds to the more.
It was something going on when they were trying to bring the two series together, and I couldn't remember what happened. But yeah, I should be more educated on that, but I'm not. But let's just say, fuck that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's ask
Bring back Tickle.
Bring back Tickle.
He's an awesome dude.
Let Tickle ride.
Let Tickle ride. Which is goes back to when Tickle was on that KTM. I kind of expected to see what Webb did when he was on that KTM. He did not quite have the success that Coop did at the beginning of that season, and that caught me by surprise.
Yeah,
maybe it was because what was in him wasn't working for him. Maybe he was taking the wrong protein powder. Well, not Arma.
At one point, you said Coop was washed up and he's not going to do shit.
I was so wrong.
Yeah, on that Yamaha.
I said, man, he's done. He's never coming back. Let's look for Savachi and the rookies. And yeah, I really ate my words on that one. And I don't mind it. I mean, I love when guys succeed and make me look stupid. I have no problem with that.
Even Eli.
Eli makes me look stupid here and every once in a while, but every once in a while I make him look stupid as well. So it's a 50-50.
So expand on Eli. Did you guys did the immovable?
Are we gonna jump right in that?
Yeah. Or do you want to save it?
Let's jump right into that. Yeah, let's wait any longer. Yeah, Saturday night at the Monster Energy Party, our boy Ash said Dirt Shark hooked us all up. We roll in and hanging out with everybody and catching up with see Ralph. The Dino's there in his little Scottish outfit. I'm not really sure what that was. Amish. Yeah, look, I think it was just missing some dreidels from the side, but looking stylish. Tons of industry people there hanging out, and I'm like, and there's like a little. Well, Gronk is there. Gronk is having his retirement party because he's a monster guy, kind of the back far corner.
He's a Supercross fan, right?
And a Supercross fan.
Yeah.
And so, but they got like it blocked off to like two different sections, like one little VIP section, then there's like ultra VIP, and I think that's where Gronk and his little party is. And I didn't know really the difference at the time, but so I just kind of sneaked through the banners there. Whatever little security guy thinks he was talking to someone else, and I'm like, I got to find Eli. I want to talk to Eli. He's got to be here somewhere.
Oh, you were seeking him out.
I wanted to talk to him. I mean, why not? I mean, what the fuck? You know, after all the banter we've had back and forth and whatnot, and in our own personal banter and my personal Lito Mac stories. So I finally hadn't find him. I actually found my way back to where Gronk was. And I was kind of, well, oh shit, who's the gorilla without a shirt on? Well, that was Gronk. Yeah. So, I mean, he was ripping and shredding, and I'm walking back back away, like back direction. And they had like these like garages, you know, with the doors up that you just kind of, everybody sat in. And all of a sudden I see Eli sitting there. And I actually saw Tyler Bowers first. Tyler was just kind of sitting there by himself. So I sat and, you know, kind of kneeled down and talked to Tyler for a bit. Big fan of Tyler Bowers since he was on mini bikes. I sponsored him at Smith, know him and his dad. So we bullshit for a little while. And then I got up and like I said, I saw Eli and I'm like, oh shit. So I just walked over to him smiling, and he looks up. He's sitting on his couch with him and his girlfriend or wife. And he looks up and he just starts laughing. like the most. Why? I was that gosh damn shirt that Gilmore made me wear. Fuck, I would have been laughing at that. That's probably why. He's like, what? Not only is this guy an asshole, he's wearing a horrible shirt.
Which was what?
It was some blue, and I don't know, Cody was some Hawaiian, Jimmy Buffett. You know,
oh, yeah, I saw.
Have you seen my Salt Shaker shirt? Yeah, it was so bad. I felt so uncomfortable. But Cody's like, you need to wear this. I'm like, okay, little buddy, I'll wear this for you. But yeah, so he looks up and he's just laughing his ass off. Mm-hmm. And I kind of waved, like, if you want to stand up, he just waves me over. And he takes his arm around off his girlfriend, and we shake hands, and he's still just laughing, like just genuine, like, what the fuck, man?
What's going through your mind at that point?
I'm just glad he didn't jump up and try and hit me or something. You know?
And what were you expecting his first reaction?
I expected him to laugh. I've known him since he was a kid, and he's always got a pretty good sense of humor. And he just won that night, and the way he handled himself when
he's not going to let the sight of Debo ruin his.
Why? Yeah, he can't be. He's better than that. Yeah. And, who the fuck am I sometimes? You know, but after he handled that two wreck, you know, what was that? The Meadowlands, where the hell he crashed twice in the whoops, and he got up and in his interview was just laughing. You know, so I think at that point he just knew, you know, what the hell. So when I saw him, he laughed, and I shook his hand. I said, man, you know, I don't hate you, you know, and when you're on, you're one of the best in the world. And when you're off, you're kind of a hot mess. And he laughed, and I said, well, good luck, you know, for the outdoors, man. You're going for third straight. And I can understand you. That's probably you got it. And we shook hands, and I walked off laughing. And my friends, Chad and Dan and Jess had watched, like, were laughing as well. And, yeah, so I was just happy I got to try to just talk to the guy for a second. I thought it was kind of funny.
Did he call you Little Denny at any point?
He didn't. He didn't say a word. He was just laughing. Like what? Again, I think I totally took him by surprise. His girlfriend. So meanwhile, I was like looking up at me like, I'm going to stab you.
That whole exchange, Eli did not say one word to you.
Not a word. I don't remember him saying one word. It was literally just like smiling and laughing. Like, I can't believe you either had the audacity to come over or yeah, it was funny. And I was just like, okay. I said, I walked back. I'm like, our night's done. Let's see the hell out of here. Which it wasn't. Of course, it never is. I tried to leave a couple times. Cody's like, we're not leaving. Uh-huh. There's booze in the corner. Go get it. And we always found it. But thank you for Ash and Dirt Shark for having us out that night. And I ran to my buddy Ralph Shaheen, which I hadn't seen in a while, and got to talk with him a bit about the old days of when we did TV together. And I asked where Ricky was. I guess Ricky didn't make it out that night. So
does Ralph want you back? Does he ever say anything that?
Well, we just talked about. We had some really funny experiences in 2006. You know, when there was one when I can't remember who the girl at the pit reporter was at the time. I can't remember.
Jenny Cap.
Oh, no, between the two of them, I don't know. I can't think. Chris Devoda, I think. Chris Devoda, maybe. And it was one of the mutters. And, you know, when you throw down the floor during the break, and like they do with Daniel Blair, how he talks about the corners and stuff. So it was a mutter. It might've been San Francisco. And she's trying to just how to explain how deep the ruts are. And she's standing in a rut, and she's like, should I put my foot in it or should I fist it? Because if you want me to fist it, I'll fist it. And Ralph and I were dying in the booth. Like, I think you should fist it.
Yeah, do the second.
And she's
one.
like, okay, I'll put my hand all the way in it. Because she had no idea, obviously, that we were taking it that way.
Oh, she didn't know the innuendo that was involved.
No, she did not.
Oh my God.
No, she was just like,
What an innocent little thing.
Innocent-
Bless her heart.
yeah, Ralph, they're like, oh my God, she's just
Yes, fist it.
Yes.
That's what we want.
put your hand all the way in there, dear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Today, I think that would be wrong, but we thought it was funny. Ooh, ow, sorry. We thought that was funny at the time. And then there was another one when we'd sit there because we had to do after shows. It's like a recap when the races would end. And we'd sit up there and I'd make paper airplanes and see how far on the track I'd get them. And it was just something we had talked about Chad Reed, about Uno Dos Tres, Chad Reed, which we thought was funny. But so just relived some moments with an old friend, and the fact he's still rocking on the supercross is killer.
He's been in the game for a while, huh?
A long time. Yeah, one of the longest ever, I'd say. Longer than
early
Art.
2000s, right?
I did 06 with him, and I think it might have been, he might have started a couple of years before that,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't remember. And then obviously with Fro crushed it for last year, and then Ricky did it this last year. So you'll see. It would be interesting what happens for next season. We got, I think, Grant and Weege coming up for the outdoors, covering that.
Yeah.
Which will be good. So
Good shit.
good shit, man. It was a good weekend of chaos. Friday night going out, right? Cody flew in about 8.
Something like that.
About 8 o'clock, he landed with Jess, our Dan's wife, producer Dan's wife, and the hostess here. By then, Chad and I and Lindsay, I think, were pretty much shit-faced. I think that'd be a good thing to say. It's Vegas. Where did you meet us at? Did we meet you back at the hotel?
It's all a blur already. I'm trying to think. Let's yeah, we met you, I think, down at the no, we met you at the hotel.
Back at the
We came
hotel.
back.
Everybody got changed. You probably had a shower like your 4th time for the day.
Maybe.
And then we headed out. Went and met RJ. Got to see Ricky Johnson,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Always get to see him in person. Obviously, he was a guest here not long ago. We caught up again, caught up some bullshit stories, and he was outraging it. And then my friend Randy Richardson from Michelin, we met up with him. He was out with a bunch of his crew. It's funny because it's cool that these race guys, industry guys, like all of us, we bring our friends, and our friends roll with us, with everybody because they're fans of the sport. And a lot of people like that rolling around town with the guys, kind of industry folks. And so Randy was awesome. And then we saw Weege, which I love talking to Weege about the races.
We just on one.
We just got done with the race, the Pulp MX show with Chad Reed and stuff.
Yeah.
And he said Chad was saying some good stories, I guess. He was talked about showing up to a race hammered one time or hungover. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'd listen to it on my way back.
I think we need to listen to that.
Trip.
Most
And,
definitely.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It sounded like we move in here. So yeah, he was talking about how his race from I think 08 Dallas. He said he came back and got back at the pits at 7:30 in the morning, and
That's awesome.
went out and won the next day. Said he didn't even want to go race.
That sounds
So,
like
I mean,
straight 90s style.
I totally get it though.
Straight dogger style.
Yeah, Chad Reed. So I mean, I had my best race after going the first time I ever made a 450 main. It was New Orleans one year, and
Another city that never shuts down.
I was like, screw it, I'm here in New Orleans. Let's go figure this out. So I think I was 21 at the time, maybe, and maybe 22, and I went out and sent it all night, Friday night, and we already raced the whole year,
Right.
and nothing had happened, and so I went out. We're in what's that street down there called?
Bourbon.
And I'm at some bar and I look over and there's K-Dub. This is at like 2 a.m. on a Friday night.
Wyndham.
Yes, Wyndham.
Not Kenny Watson, Kevin Wyndham.
The real Wyndham.
Yeah.
And a matter of fact, he went and won the next day. And I made my first 450 main.
What year would that have been?
I wish I would have gone out Friday nights more often.
I told you, we've always talked about that when you were working, when the off season you trained your hardest, the seasons were always your worst. And that was mine. Like I told you, like, man, it seemed like when I would.
You warned me.
I warned you.
You forewarned me.
I did.
Not only you hooked me up to go train with Bloodman,
and I said,
but then you're like, but don't train too hard.
Keep within a small window, because it always been that way. When I had my best off season, when I trained the hardest and came in full bore ready, I would grenade by second round and hurt myself, and the season would suck.
Yeah.
The seasons I came in just half-assed and just like, okay, I'm confident in my own skill, my own time, my own ability. I would have my best seasons.
Yeah.
Always.
I warned Raper about that too.
Like clockwork.
Yeah.
What?
Everything in moderation.
It always worked that way for me, and I don't know why. And I told you that. And your best season, you'd go into, and then did you get hurt? And I'm like, I told you.
Yeah, I was feeling good too. I was feeling good, and then Anaheim came. Had a rock get stuck in my linkage, which is weird. So the shock was completely compressed through the first turn, and the rock was in the middle. And I come through the rhythm section, and it's like I'm riding a board. I like thought I broke my ankles almost in the first. I'm like,
right off the start, that happened.
Right, and going down the start, somehow a rock got stuck, completely compressed. So, anyways, that night was done. That was the LCQ.
Then you went to Germany, right?
Went to Germany the next
which
weekend.
I suggested. I felt bad.
I mean, it was fun. I don't regret it, but yeah, it was just a dumb little crash in the whoops and ended up tearing my thumb, ligament in my thumb, and then the season was over. But I was feeling pretty good. But yeah, I probably shouldn't have trained so hard that year.
From then on, it was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to race and show up, and you had great years from that on.
Yeah,
relatively good.
Yeah, it's always hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
You wish maybe you would have tried a little bit harder here and there, but at the same time,
it's the
like I
sprinkleness
said,
of motocross.
I've done the best I have. Sometimes going out, having a good time the night before, and sometimes you ride way better. I mean, yeah, you got to be in good physical shape and be able to go throw down. But just like what Reedy talked about, I don't think it's so much racing dirt bikes as
it's when instincts kick in.
It's instinct. That's how you feel.
Muscle
if you're
memory.
Comfortable, if you're just smooth.
Yep.
You know, when I go out and I'm nervous, I'm trying hard, I'm riding tight, I'm boner airing off every jump. You know what I mean? But when I feel good, you know, even Chris Riesenberg, he can be like, dude, you're gonna kill it tonight. He knows.
You can see it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, it's a feeling. Riding dirt bikes is a feeling, and
yeah,
you
I know.
can go out and
I've never gone out. I've never gone out the night before a race.
Yeah,
ever. I don't know. I just never had, because I just felt like I got hurt enough as it was. I didn't need to add more to it. But there's the comfort level. I remember going to Vegas and racing like the U.S. Open, and thinking when I was racing arena cross, I would think, man, I'm on this little tiny track. I'm going to crush it. And I never felt so uncomfortable on a bike. I just could not even. I'm like, what? I felt like a novice. The track, every corner, the bike. I'm just like, when you're off, and you know it, and you're pretty much. Well, not always, because we've seen guys have shitty practice times, a shitty heat race, and win a main. But you know when you show up a lot of times how the night's going to go.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hard to tell what it's going to feel like at first, even when you're walking the track, and then as soon as you get out there, the first lap, you kind of really know how it's going to go, how the day's going to go.
Kind of like Friday night when you walked into Hard Rock and all those chicks were all over you.
Man, that was Saturday night. You gotta love it, man.
Was it Saturday night? I think it was Saturday morning.
It was Saturday. Oh, Friday night.
It was Friday night.
Oh, Friday night was Hard Rock. Yeah, they were hookers, right? I'm pretty good at attracting hookers in Vegas. You know
I know. It's like you're like
you got to talk to them for like an hour, and
before you realize they're like, hey, what do you got? Kind of money you got? And you're like, damn it! If I just wasted an hour talking to a hooker.
You become a pro though. Sometimes, like just in the first 10 minutes, you're just like, so how much? And if they answer with the price, you know you made a good.
Or they slap you,
or you get slapped. But hey, even if they aren't hookers, maybe sometimes they'll be like, hey, well, I guess I could be a prize tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I saw a couple of them like walking out, but it was not. It wasn't rain and ass like I remember Vegas always being.
Hard Rock sucks these days.
Hard Rock's horrible.
Hard Rock's terrible. It sucked the last few years. Ever since Monster Party started leaving, going to the Palms, going to the Cromwell, going to MGM this last
where
Monster Cup.
Where was this last party at?
This was at the Palms.
The one we went to Saturday night was at the Palms?
Out on the beach.
No recollection of that at all. I mean, I remember being there, but I don't remember where we went.
Yeah.
I just remember we were leaving that morning at whatever the hell, like 4 or 5 in the morning. And there's like that 5,000 people. There's like 5,000 people partying down below. What was the club? What's that club called there?
I don't know. That's new.
Rain or something?
No, Rain's upstairs, I think. Yeah, it's Chaos.
Chaos. It was gnarly. I'm like, and there's 5,000 people with their phones up. There was a DJ playing, some Latin singer, and we were going down the stairs, kind of getting ready to leave. And I'm like, holy shit! And I asked one of the security guys down there, like, how many people are down there? He's like, well, there's like 2,000 under that tunnel there. There's another 1,000 back there. He goes, about a total of 5,000 people down there on a Saturday night at just a club in Vegas.
Aren't you glad you didn't leave like the first 3 minutes when you got there?
Well, I'm always glad when
Denny goes, oh, we got to leave. There's like, no beer
here.
Shit here.
I'm tired of standing around. Let's get out of here. But I don't know. It was late. It was really late. And so, but it was a great night seeing everybody. But yeah, that club was crazy. So we're leaving Saturday night and it's me and Chad and Jessica and Lindsay, his wife, and we're waiting for an Uber. And now, meanwhile, Chad has been screwed out about 10 Ubers in Denver. So his rating must be really bad right now. So we're waiting for about 45 minutes and Chad just pacing up and down. And I'm like, can we just get in this? There's a guy standing there, an Uber driver whose ride didn't show up. And Chad's insistent that we get in this. We wait. And so we're fucking waiting. And then finally, here comes you with all these girls around you again. And then you blow them all off as they leave. And you're like, man, I could have got laid. And you're like, you never can close. Let's be honest. And so we're waiting for you. And so we decided, screw it, Chad, this Uber's not showing up. Let's go up here and get a cab or something. And so we're walking through the parking lot there of the Palms, apparently. And right there in front of the doorway. And there's a chick bent over this car in fishnet stockings and a black thong. And her ass has to have implants. I mean, it makes Kim Kardashian's ass look flat. And she turns around and Cody's like, yeah, baby. She's like, thank you very much. And then he turns around and says another one, damn, you look good, girl. She's like, thank you very much. I'm like, man, you're 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah, I should have stuck with the original plan, I think.
It was, yeah. I'm like, and I love the fact that you're just like full bore, like, you're hot. And they're like, thanks, bro.
Oh, man.
It is the 21st century. You got to watch out who you're talking to.
I figured
these
that
days.
story's going to come out tonight. I'm glad I don't remember it. I mean, everything's normally a pretty good blur.
I could be making it up now. Who knows if it happened or not, honestly, at this point.
Yeah.
No,
it could have been worse.
Yeah. You didn't ask her how much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we got back. I don't remember what we did after that.
Neither. I don't even remember.
I know you got lost at the Hustler Club till about 7 on Friday.
That was the night before.
On Friday. I'm just piecing these things together.
I don't know what happened to you. I think you ended up somewhere after the Circle Bar at the Hard Rock. That place is terrible. And I think me, Chad, and someone who'll go unnameless but might work for a race tech or something.
Yeah,
like that.
he might have gone there. Some guy, the white flag. The yellow. Yeah, I'd left the Hard Rock with some yellow-haired tattooed girl and went to her house. And I'm like, you guys, and I'm glad because you guys didn't blow up my phone. Like, where are you? We're at the Hustler Club. I'm like, well, I'm not paying for it.
That was a long walk home. That was a long walk.
How do you walk from the Hustler Club all the way to the?
Well, here's the deal. So I'm pretty smart when I go to Vegas.
No, you're not.
This was just said right now. I don't even
veteran at this. So
I'm pretty
when
smart.
I go, I allot different money for each night, and then I hide it in my bag.
So you don't take it all at once. You have
And then
like
my
envelopes.
credit
This is Friday
cards
night.
with my money on it, I leave in my bag at the hotel. I bring one credit card that has no money that's either maxed or not working, just in case something happens. You need it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, a few hours go by at the Hustler Hollywood or whatever, and
Which I'd never been to in Vegas. How was it? What's
I
the
don't
talent
remember.
level? Like Spearmint Rhino level or like
no, I
Sapphire
think
level?
we were like with only 4 dudes in there, and I think there was like 6 chicks in there, and this was already daylight. We left.
Yeah, because when I left Hard Rock, the sun
like,
was going. When I left Hard Rock to go over that her house, the sun was coming up.
Yeah,
and so that's such a terrible feeling too.
So yeah, I don't know. So whatever. Anyway, I spend all my money. My phone's dead, which and then I have to go try getting more money out of my.
But you have a card
because that a little slip that they give you that says you owe 120 for a lap dance or whatever.
They give you a receipt.
They give you a little slip.
Oh, nice.
And then you got to
like a menu, like okay, like you get it when you get done having dinner.
Yes. So I'm at the ATM.
Does it break it down like handy lap dance?
No.
Champagne.
No. I actually have it in my bag. But I'm sitting there at the ATM machine acting like I'm going to get money out of this.
Knowing you're not getting any money.
There's no way that it's going to get money. So I don't know. I think I get kicked out. And I end up on the bench out with some other dude passed out. I have no shirt on. My phone's dead.
Why did you take your shirt off?
It was gone. I don't know.
Don't even know where your shirt went.
It was gone. So
why couldn't it have been my ugly one that he made me wear?
And I'm like, screw it. The other people I was waiting for never came out. They never came out. So I'm like, screw it. I'm walking. 2.5 hours later, I finally got back to the hotel. Walking. This place is up like where they're building a new stadium, kind of.
Oh, my God.
So it's past Mandalay Bay. We're clear.
I almost experienced the same thing. So that same morning, when it was time to go, we had to go find somebody. And so I got the call, and so I'm like, I got to go. I got to get the hell out of here. And it's, it's probably 8 a.m. at this point, I think, 8 or 8:30, maybe 9. And my phone's at 3%. And I have a Droid. No one ever has Droid chargers anywhere. Why is that? Everyone's got iPhone chargers. So I'm like, I need to get out of here. And so I call a cab at 9, whatever the morning it was. I'm thinking, well, it's ringing because it's ringing. That's like, please hold while we contact your driver or something. And I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. Imagine my phone going click, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, I have $40 in my name. I'm just going to start walking, I think.
Yeah.
Until I find a cab and I'll hail it down. And all of a sudden the cab driver answers, or the cab company goes, I'm like, I'm at this address. I luckily found the address before I left the house. Because that's the worst part when you leave a house, and you don't know where you are. But I found the address. And I need to come pick me up at this spot. And then next minute, the driver called. I'm 10 minutes away. So I walk back to the house. I'd already walked like half a mile. Walk back to the house, and I'm sitting waiting. And then about then, my phone goes dead. And then they pulled up, fortunately, and ended up being, like I said, a $40 cab ride back to the link where we were staying. Yeah. But I felt the same way. I'm like, am I going to have to walk here? Or I'm going to have to walk at least to society, where so I can find a cab driving around.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, maybe I should walk this off a little bit and like try to figure out what's going on with life. And I've already had bad experiences from this hustler club. A few years ago, I'll call out my buddy. Me and Raper decide to go to Vegas on some off weekend. And this is probably back in 14 or something. And I just got back from South Africa. Went to South Africa to race. And anyways, I get second in South Africa, and they say I'm going to get paid $10,000. And
oh yeah, I remember you got.
So,
you had gone, you'd won. You got in second or third right that weekend behind Josh Hill.
Yep.
And it was awesome. I remember seeing the pictures. I was so pumped for you. You were supposed to win $10,000, which
$10,000 would have been awesome.
Which you came home with and proceeded to then spend.
I came with the big check, but they didn't actually give me the money yet. And
can we cash this fucking thing or
yes.
what?
So anyways, the next weekend we're like, hey, let's go to Vegas. And at the point we're there, and some point through the night, I'm like, well, screw it. I mean, I have like, whatever it is, $1,500 in the account or whatever it is. Me and Raper, we didn't really have that much money. We're privateers at the time.
You're ghetto rich now. You got $10,000 coming.
Hey, I'm getting this $10,000 check this week. Let's just max out the card. Let's go hard. Me and him, before we know it, we're getting kicked out because my card ain't working again. I already spent everything. He ain't. None of his is working. Then I never got paid my $10,000.
Thank you very much.
So this hustler place is bad news. So I'm never going to Vegas to chat again.
Well, I remember going to Crazy Horse too with our buddy, DL and Wade and all of our buddies from Dallas, and everybody's down there. And it was the same thing. That's been the Crazy Horse too. I'm getting closed because you go back in the champagne room and they would proceed to, overcharge you like thousands of dollars or something, and they end up getting closed for it. But same thing happened to my buddy Wade. He basically got thrown out. Same thing. We had left him or something, lost him. And the next morning he come back to the hotel room, and I guess he had passed out under an underpass and woke up without his shirt on, and his wallet was gone, and his phone was gone. But it's a dangerous, horrible place.
What's your best story from a strip club? You have to have some good ones partying.
God, I don't remember. Vegas is just such a horrible place. Dallas men's clubs was always really good,
Yeah.
But God, I don't know if I've ever been really thrown out of one. Well, strip club in St. Louis. When we were trying everything we could to get thrown out of the place, and they would not throw us out.
I feel like whenever we go out, we try doing everything to get kicked out. They'll never kick us out.
They never kick us out.
Someone had a question for us on Instagram. They said how many places we got kicked out.
Oh, it was Hoff. It was Brandon Hoff.
We cannot get kicked out.
In St. Louis, I remember the night before we were there all night, we become friends with the bartender guy, a tattoo dude, the waitress, and everybody would love this for whatever reason. And then the next night we hung out again, and I think at one time I said, let's just clear this table off and just swipe it and see what, see if they'll throw us out. And
they probably didn't.
Just cleared the table to the ground. And then we sat there and waited from they came and picked it up and asked, we apologize for the crooked table. What more can we get you?
You guys been trying hard enough.
That didn't,
I think this guy's pretty good at getting kicked out, or at least falling asleep in bars.
Well, you got thrown out of what? You got thrown out of the 20s before, right? When it was the 20s? Or was that Club Omaha?
No, that was.
When you got back from Vegas, you two had got back from Vegas.
That night.
That might have
that
been.
Next morning, you guys had flown. You were in Vegas.
Yeah.
Had stayed up all night, obviously, and got on a plane, came home, and went straight to the 20s.
No, we went straight to Spearmint Rhino. And then we I think we landed in the morning. We went to the Rhino all day, met up with Stan Gregory.
Right.
He's always the worst influence ever.
He is.
And we end up partying there all day. Then we might have went to the 20s.
You went to the 20 because I think you got thrown out of there. Almost certain of it. And then when you guys then went to the
no, because Denny was following like our whole.
I was following on the thread.
Yeah, on our whole Instagram deal, and you're like, "Where are you guys at now?" Denny's.
I thought you were in Vegas
Now,
still.
now you're in Omaha.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Denny was just kind of like following us from afar.
Yeah, I think he thought Stan flew to Vegas.
Yeah,
to meet
yeah.
us there.
I did. Like, how the fuck did Stan fly to Vegas on Sunday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It turned
But
out you were in
Stan
Omaha.
would do that.
You were in
So we
Omaha
had the
partying.
20s, and I'm in I got flip flops on, and then motherfucking the bartender, and he says, "Did you do something?" I flip him off, and Stan gets up and flips the table over, and I think I got carried out.
They'll throw you out of the old day 20s. Yeah. Chad's had a bad experience there as well, back in that place back in the day. But it's an Omaha strip club.
R.I.P.
It's pretty
R.I.P. Man.
it's oh, there it is right there.
R.I.P. I gotta rock that.
Somebody ended up with their sign. I can't remember. Somebody we knew ended up with their sign.
I wanted to buy that so bad.
Yeah, he had it. He's AR Salvage, dude. He had it for sale for a while, and me and Nick talked about buying it, putting it on his roof.
Putting it up.
Like, it would have been awesome. This is this huge, like, Vegas style
Light bulbs.
20
Yeah,
sign.
full light bulbs, everything. Yeah.
everything. And we're like,
Not a
what if
neon
we
sign.
put this on the roof? It would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well,
So-
we've tried to get Nick thrown out of his neighborhood a few times. I think that might have done it.
We tried pretty hard. And you know what happened? Like when the first year I moved in, we was always having parties at my house. And one of the nights that everyone was over, we're making all kinds of noise. There's a knock on my door, and there's a little kid at the door with a tray full of fresh baked cookies.
Oh.
And and he was like, "Oh, my mom just made this for you guys, and we just want to welcome you to the neighborhood."
Well, how about the time with
This is
V10?
Yeah, this is like during I don't know.
It's to be a homeowner is a responsibility. I remember when I first bought my first house in 2000 or 91. I was like 20 years old, and I had obviously moved in with Cog and my buddy Todd Ramsey and another guy. And the first night we're having a full rager. We had all moved in, all of our bikes, all of our shit, and we are sitting in the back patio, and we're basically throwing everything we can in the backyard as we tend to do.
That's happened at my house.
And I'm just kind of sitting on the back patio, leaning with my back against the wall. And all of a sudden, somebody opens up the slider and goes, "Who's the owner of this house?" And the first thing goes through my mind is like, who the fuck are you walking into my house, in the middle of the night and walking into it to address us? And my second thought was, okay, these are your new neighbors.
Right.
You can handle this two different ways, like an idiot,
Or point at Cog.
or just, or go, it's me. And then then apologize for making all the noise and ruckus. And because that it's just going to go on and on, but why not? Why start out badly?
Yeah.
And so I think that was one of my most responsible moments ever.
Just own it up to
It's
it.
kind of gone downhill from there.
They're pretty far in between.
Far in between. Listen to you, pot called kettle.
So let's go back to Vegas then. So Saturday, we figured that we end up getting back. I think it's like 11
Probably 11 o'clock. I
a.m.,
think about
somewhere in
then.
there.
Yeah, 11 in the morning by the
We
time.
walk into the hotel room. I think there's paper everywhere.
I don't know if it had been yet.
I'm pretty sure it had.
I'd already tore up all the paper and thrown it everywhere. So a good little word of wise wisdom. Not instead. I'm done destroying rooms because it's stupid, costs so much money. I can't afford that type of stuff. And my friends who I booked the room get mad at me. Take a full thing of loose leaf paper, about 1,000 sheets, put them in your bag, and when you get to the hotel, it's like one of those explosions, like at the end of the supercross. You just tear them all up and just make it rain.
That room is going to be like the pink concert.
It was flying everywhere. Well, it's like Saturday morning when I got back, or Sunday morning, I got back to the hotel again at like 7 in the morning. You guys are all sleeping. I have no place to lay in bed. So I just sat there in my chair on my phone. Like, I can't sleep. Everybody, no one else will sleep. Or else is asleep. Like, could someone wake up and talk to me? So I decided to clean up the room. I'm like, I'll clean up all the paper, put it all in the trash can, clean it up as loud as I can. I'm like, and no one's moving at all. I'm like, well, fuck all you guys. So then I filled the trash can, sat there for about another 10 minutes on my phone, going through Instagram and stuff, and finally decided, well, fuck, I'm just going to dump the whole trash can on Cody's head. And all he does, he doesn't move. He just puts the covers over his head and goes, Yeah, they still ingest his covers. Yeah, you're a really weird sleeper. You make a lot of weird noises. What goes on in your head when you're sleeping?
I don't know. I don't even know if I was fully sleeping. I think I was just probably like, I don't know.
Like you get like and then the covers are over his head, like fully mummifies himself.
Are they like maybe hurting or something? Like,
You
maybe
must be.
my
I think
head.
zombies are chasing you.
Maybe I don't know.
So finally, everybody gets up on Saturday, and I don't really remember Saturday much. We didn't.
Well, I think we kind of just hung out.
We hung out
all
the room,
way Saturday
went
until we're
ate,
like, shit. Holy
chill.
crap! There's a dirt bike race going on soon.
Yeah.
Should we go to it?
And by
Or
that,
should we?
we just went and watched it in our buddy's suite, on 2-room suite, and watched it on TV, which was actually pretty damn good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We had food and we had dinner, or not dinner. We had drinks and everything. You didn't have to sit in the stands, and
We didn't have an hour drive back and forth. That was pretty nice.
it was really good. And you got to watch, and you get to see everything. It's obviously you get to see a lot more on TV. So when you're paying attention to stuff, and then we went out that night to the party. And then the next morning we raged and went to the pool.
Yeah,
which
think
was beautiful.
somewhere in there.
So
Yeah,
much
we
fun.
went to the pool. Yeah.
We went to MGM pool to meet our friend Randy Richardson. He was at the wet, and everyone was feeling so sick. The girls were not feeling well, so we're like, man, we're gonna bail back to the link. After we'd already made a big point of getting there, waited for 45 minutes, and it's like, okay, let's rally back and go back to our hotel. And went to the pool, and I think the water's what saved us all. That nice cold water.
Yeah, I remember I took a big drink of it. That was not good.
Well, you got a
I thought-
vodka water, and I think I might have thrown some water on it and it went in the water.
Yeah, and then I went under once and I forgot. I think we're at a pool or something. I took a huge drink of chlorine.
It was good though.
Yeah,
It was hot as hell. 95 degrees. Beautiful weekend.
Yeah, I mean it was a typical Vegas weekend. Typical Vegas weekend. Good to have Denny back in Vegas.
It was
It's
awesome.
been
I had a
while.
great time. I'm glad I didn't really want to go. At the time, you're kind of thinking, what the hell? But Sunday was so much fun. Hanging out with everybody at the pool. Vegas is awesome. Let's take some questions. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Checkers was on here earlier.
I can't read that far.
He just said hi. Hi, friends.
Is this the Fast Five?
The Fast
Segment?
Five. We're gonna do the Fuck Cancer Fast House 5. That was courtesy of you, Cody. I didn't know Fast House made a Fuck Cancer shirt, but
It's pretty cool.
it's pretty cool.
The jersey.
It's a jersey, yeah.
Yeah,
Now, if I
it's
could just get
rad.
my phone to work. What the fuck?
So a few things I want to talk about the races a little bit.
Step into it.
There's like a few things that people have been talking. What do you think about RC and his announcing this year? He's been getting hated on so bad. I think he's done a great job personally.
Well, it's someone right here. Jay Crow 938 says on the broadcast, RC said the hoops were evener on the right side. Is that true?
It might be true. I don't know if
Well,
evener
you
is
can
a
put the
word.
man in the booth, but you can't take the kid out of Tallahassee.
Yeah, I mean, he called him hoops his whole life. So
And
We all know what he's talking about. What was Anderson's word a year ago?
I have no idea. Was he
He
referring to a
made
line or
he
something?
made up some fucking word, and it's not a word, but everybody knows what he's saying.
Evener is a word, I think.
yeah.
No, it's not a word.
EV.
More
I
even.
think, would be it.
Oh, more
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
That's perhaps good job there.
Yeah.
The Asian guy knows English better than us.
But he's done a good job.
I think he's done good. No,
killed
back
it.
to that. Yeah.
He's-
I know I've got a chance to talk to him through the season, messaging and stuff and bantering back and forth. And you can see he's worked at it. He's obviously, if anyone in the world knows how to work at something to be successful, it's obviously Ricky.
As soon as they announced it, RC, I'm like, oh, I just cringed. I'm like, one, Fro's awesome. He's done a good job since you were done.
Right.
And RC has not been very good in the years past. He would always scream into the mic and go, oh, this and that.
Right.
Like, he didn't make much sense. And as soon as he got at A1 this year, I'm like, holy crap, he's improved.
I think it's really
And I
difficult.
kind of like listening. I think he actually does have some good points. A lot of them I disagree with, like the Seattle controversy of when the dude got took out in LCQ and he went around the triple.
Right.
Like I felt like he was totally wrong on a few occasions.
Did Ricky
but at
say that it
least
was okay? What did you
He
think?
thought it was okay. I thought it was
Total bullshit.
total bullshit.
Total bullshit.
And if you think it's not, then obviously you've probably never raced a supercross.
Right.
But I guess RC's one.
He saw it in a
Supercross,
different
so
perspective.
I
but-
can't say that, but I mean, damn, when I'd hit someone in a corner, if I hit them hard enough and they go off the track, you count that for a pass. You're like, boom.
Oh, yeah,
done,
you don't meet me.
off.
You don't meet me down the
You
other
do
corner
not pin it down the side of the
Yeah.
triple
And-
and pull on.
in front of me.
I don't even care if you pull on right behind me. It's still messed up.
Yeah.
Get on the track where I just punted your ass off. of.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
100%.
Like, people don't get that. It's like, man, when you hit someone, and no matter if you're trying to take them out or not, I mean,
They
your
should- they
goal
should-
is to get them.
It's a
Normally
get rid
it's
of
either
them.
to get rid of them,
Get
or
rid
get
of
them
them.
off the track,
said that.
especially in an LCQ when it's the last transfer spot. Your goal is to
Move
take
them
out.
Move them out of the
You,
way.
you really don't want them right
To deal with
behind
them
you,
again.
especially with the lap left. Because if you hit them hard enough and
They're
they
coming
don't
back
fall,
to you. They're coming back.
you're like, and then you're really riding nervous, And but at least he did throw some opinions out there this year, which I thought was cool.
I think it's tough to, last season when he was you didn't feel he was doing as well. I think being a 3-man booth is tough.
Yeah.
There's Fro and him were kind of talking over each other a few times. It's funny. I think they took more jabs at each other sometimes than they were kind of watching the races.
Yeah, RC has some good jabs every now and then at Ralph that make me chuckle a little bit too, which is pretty funny. I think RC is kind of like that type of dude. But
he's done his homework, and when I'd message him, sometimes I'd say, "Hey, man, the greatest thing about what you've done in your life is no one knows how you did it. Like, share your experiences.
Exactly.
Share how you became the GOAT and how badass of motocross.
And I think sometimes that's hard to put into words too. I mean, it's one thing to go ride your dirt bike and just go kill it, but it's one thing to be able to tell people how it's done, or not even like based on like a technique standpoint, just even on
put it
anything,
in words. Yeah, put it in words sometimes tough. I can that's why I don't really do schools, because like the Budman is so good at describing how to make the bike work and do things and how to body position.
Budman's the best of the best.
I was like, man, I would just I don't know, just turn the throttle, bro.
Yeah,
even though I felt like I was a technical rider, but for me to kind of explain it was tough. But I remember when I'd work with you sometimes, just at Supercross, I could see different things you're doing.
Yeah.
But if I had to tell you that beforehand without seeing it, I probably wouldn't be able to do that. And then you've learned as well going through school. So that was something I thought was cool that Ricky had definitely gotten better this year. I didn't know originally it was going to be Carmichael this year. I thought it was going to be Ralph and a revolving door of people.
Yeah.
Like I expect to see more of Dungey almost.
Yeah, I thought Dungey might get in there a little bit. Man, I thought GL maybe at one point, but like you said, you didn't really think that was going to happen just because outdoors and everything. But I'd really like to hear you back in there, to be honest with you.
I had fun. It was awesome.
But your Instagram post have probably made that so that ain't gonna happen.
I think I burned enough bridges. I won't think I'd be having that.
Probably made that not gonna happen.
Yeah. But that's all right.
You were pretty good in there. You and Robbie Floyd were awesome to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I did like 3 years of arena cross and freestyle with Robbie, and then I remember doing an audition to do the Supercross, and Robbie had done. We did the Salt Lake round because we just go down to Atlanta and film like 2 or 3 or 4 arena crosses and IFMA shows for later broadcasts, and they had brought in. They were looking for someone to do it, so they auditioned me to do it with Robbie calling it, and I think we called the Salt Lake City race, and I remember just like going, man, I felt like I nailed that. And I ended up getting a job, which was awesome. One of the best, most enjoyable times of my career at 06, being able to do that, call the races, be the voice of the sport you love. Yeah. So I take great pride in that. And I take great pride in the guys who do it today, because I know how much that means to them and how much they, especially for Ricky being up there. And, Fro was doing it for all the years, and he had overcome his speech impediment stuff, and he crushed it. Yeah. And now Grant and Weeds doing it in outdoors, doing really well as well. So,
yeah, Daniel Blair kills it.
Daniel Blair. I love Daniel Blair. I think he is amazing.
Yeah, he's a man.
Great voice.
He's so good to listen to. He makes his points nice and clear. I could listen to him all day.
Absolutely,
like
100%.
I don't know how they don't have him in the booth or utilize him more, but I guarantee you there ain't one person out there that don't want to hear him more.
Absolutely.
But he's doing good. It's actually, I kind of like him on the track too, because he's actually, I'd way rather listen to Blair than some chick down there that's never rode.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, nothing wrong with Will or anything, but I don't understand why they keep bringing British speaking girls over, or people over. Do you think the Brits have an English speaking person to make it sound more worldly? I mean, not that she did a bad job or anything. It's just, it never made sense to me. So.
I don't mind them interviewing people. It's what I don't like is when they would be down there on the track telling us about different parts of the track when they don't really know exactly, what's about it. When Daniel's down there, he makes sense. He tells people how it is. And you know what I mean? So that's what, it's
Daniel does a great job.
Does a good job. Yeah.
I think the on-track guy should be somebody that comes from a racing background.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And it's always been, it used to always be, like David Coombs used to be the floor guy.
Yeah.
And then I know Ricky was on the floor there off and on. And yeah, because if you're going to share some insight on what's going on the track, I really think you have to have experienced at that point.
Yeah.
How about our dude McAdoo this weekend?
That's a good point
for me.
Second place.
Killed it as second to the last lap. I'm pretty sure it was the last lap or second to last lap. He was in second. He ended up getting passed for third. Hampshire got around him.
Oh, I don't think I even realized that.
Yep. So,
But he was
still
like-
got a podium, and he was up there. And
He was by himself most of that race. Like when Art Hampshire and AC and Sexton are all battling, Ferrandis was gone and Cameron was by himself, basically just laying down some solid laps on a gnarly track.
killing it. He's came a long ways, man. My buddy Brandon Kruger used to work with them when he was on 80s, and he's like, man, this kid is wild. He goes crazy. He still has some wild in him, but
he's best friend.
he's
Danny G's
definitely
best
smoothed
boy.
it out. He smoothed it out. I think Brayton's helped him out quite a bit.
Has he worked
And,
with Justin?
I think they're
down
good
there at
friends
the-
at Club MX
Club
or
MX.
something. So whatever they're doing, little birdie told us he's gonna be riding for Pro Circuit for outdoors. That ain't 100% sure, but
Filling in for Faulkner.
I think Mathis reported on that a few weeks back, even something, and then
I think
also
he
had
just,
some
I
other
think he got
people
thrown
follow
into the dog's pen too quickly. He'd won the Monster Energy Cup amateur class
Yeah.
and then got the Moto Concepts ride. And then to somebody getting hurt at Geico, unless he thought he was kind of doing the better thing to get him into that ride. And I think the pressure was just too much for him.
Yeah.
He needed that. I think he needed that year with Moto Concepts where it was a little bit less pressure, where he stopped crashing, getting hurt. And this year he got in a fill-in ride again because of our Jeremy Martin,
yeah.
and he's delivered, which is really great. Great job for the Midwest kid. And I think I see good things for him in the outdoors. He nothing like ending the season with a big confidence.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool to watch him keep growing. I think he definitely has a talent to keep the sport and like the people, backing him. He's definitely, Midwest hopeful,
proud
for sure. Yeah. So
okay,
congrats to him, man.
Let's see here. What do you think about putting limits on the performance of bikes so the factory guys don't have such a huge advantage in both classes? Do you think that that's true? I mean, he didn't ask if that's true, but what do you think about this guy's Bandola 410 from IG? Thank you, sir, for the question. Do you think the factory bikes are that much of an advantage or the privateers?
I think it could be done, but really the only way you can do it is like a
Restrictor plates or something?
restrictor plate of type thing. Let's then have to go through the EFI.
But do you think
system.
a 450 factory bike is that much advantage than a privateer 450?
I've never rode one. I used to live with Blake Wharton back in the day, or stay and ride with him. I've lived with him a few times. And anyways, when he rode for Geico, one time I was I don't remember what the deal was, but he's like, "You want to go ride my bike or something?" And I'm like, "Nope, I'm good. I do not want to see what I'm missing out on."
I
You know
rode
what I
Fro's
mean?
when I lived with Fro in '96, and he was getting ready for the Nations, so he was riding the 500, and we went out to Paris, and he let me ride his factory 250 that year, or that day, that weekend, or that day. And I swear, within 4 laps, I was going as fast on the motorcycles I'd ever gone.
Yeah.
The way it handled, it was unbelievable. Like it just jump up into the bumps, and I'd expect usually get a little hip hop on my privateer. Great suspension by Kiaba, Rossmayed, I mean, and the shit would be, but it was just like the factory stuff was like just right through the bumps.
Yeah.
The power, I know Fro was always very insistent that his clutch or his throttle should be connected to the rear wheel. Like I want that much power. I want it instantly. There's no hesitation. He was very insistent on that, and it was just the bike was just brap, 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 and just the way it handled, I was like, holy shit.
So do you think the chassis and the suspension is more of an advantage for the factory guys over a privateer bike?
I would say it's chassis and suspension. You probably agree with that, Cody, more than anything.
Yeah, I think it's
almost more
it's
important
the
than
team.
the motor.
I think it's making sure, the bikes, it's all the testing, it's all everything. I could get on Tomac's bike and I'd probably hate it, right now. But I'm guarantee you there's good things. There's good things about it to where
I think a privateer can make a 450 as fast as a factory 450. I just think the suspension and
speed,
chassis.
I don't think as much. It's more smooth rideable power. Like Chris Riesenberg just mentioned on YouTube here. He said, "What about spec tires for everyone?" That would be awesome. I mean, it's hard to get a spec tire. I barely got any spec tires from Dunlop when I raced for them. They'd help me out every now and then, but there'd be the we'd call it the I don't know what you call it, the teddy bears that always suck up to, the people, and you get a few privateers getting the spec tires every weekend.
Or you
But
get
other
someone
than that,
else's hand-me-downs.
Hand-me-downs, I'd ask for takeoff tires all the time. It used to be when you'd make a main, you'd get a spec tire for the next weekend. Well, then Pirelli, Bridgestone, everyone dropped out. Dunlop was the only people. So then they'd just be like, well,
what are you gonna do?
You're good.
Yeah.
So one time in
It's not like
Vegas,
you're gonna go somewhere else.
I wasn't getting spec tires and chickens with me.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
comes up there and he gives shit to
Marshall or
Marshall, and he's
Fleck.
like, "Hey, if you don't give Gilmore a spec tire right now, blah blah blah, and I got spec tires for the weekend. You know what I mean?
Chicken making shit happen.
But to be honest with you, I'd never tested the tires. I rode I'm more of a guy who don't like changing clickers. I like riding the same tires because I feel once you get used to something,
How it reacts,
you can let your body
Sure.
technique change different things.
Absolutely.
I could never really tell a huge difference in tires, spec tire wise, other than maybe the lightness on a 250F if they're a little lighter or something, but that could be one thing. But I think it would be cool if we all rode the same bikes. It would definitely help.
Well, that's ironic. It's like that's when we did back in the World Mini Grand Prix days at the NMAs in Vegas. They'd invite the top 12 mini riders from around the country, and we'd all get on stock Yamahas or then stock Kawasaki's. I mean, can you imagine that happening to them? I mean, it's unheard of. Never happened. I mean, but yeah, a Honda rider's riding a Kawasaki or a Suzuki guy's on a Yamaha and whatever the bike was that year. That's so wild to think about today that used to happen.
It's just weird how like technology, is at one point it's an advantage to have a certain thing.
Technology is killing our sport.
I mean, let's just
the cost.
talk about the whole shot device.
Yeah.
It's no longer an advantage to have a whole shot device because everybody on the line has one.
RJ brought that up too. Yeah. When we
I'll
talked
argue
to him.
at that point, though. I'll argue at that point as in
Let's argue.
we
While we wrestle.
It's hard. There's testing that goes into whole shot device heights.
Height.
They need to get rid of them.
So, but I mean, yeah, you get rid of them, and then it's fair for everyone too.
Then everybody's
But I
got the same
guarantee
thing.
you that the factories will think of something else. If some fork.
Have you ever
setting-
you used to have, you
Yeah.
tried the rear compression deal. Do guys use that?
on my Suzuki still?
Do people use that in Supercross?
Here's a
No,
case
they
in point. At the races this weekend down in where the fuck I was? Where was I?
And where
was I?
you
I wasn't in Vegas.
I mean,
you weren't in Vegas. You're in Kansas,
So
Missouri.
So okay,
Fiddler's
so I
Creek.
raced a Creighton Ray right up in Homer, and he's on a KX 125, same bike that I'm racing on. He's got the front and rear whole shot device, so his bike's squatted. I got 45 pounds on the kid, right?
And you're on your two-stroke.
No, yeah, I'm on my KX 125.
Right.
He's on his KX 125.
Oh,
He's got a front and rear whole shot device. I have nothing, and I whole shot.
well, clearly he isn't a very good starter.
Well, that's not to say that he's a bad side. I mean, like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that
how
was the
much
same
of an
thing.
advantage is that? Those
I think the way I think the power of those 450s, I think it's huge. And then you put the gate that grading down and stuff. It takes away a lot of the technique. Now you don't have to deal with the rut. Now you don't have to deal with kind of wheeling as much. And someone else had said that they felt that was why the first turns are so packed now, because everybody's launching off that gate at almost the exact same speed, velocity, and side by side, which puts everybody in the first turn at the same time. When it was a rut, no starting devices, getting out of the gate.
It's still tough to start on them things, though.
Oh, I imagine. I mean, it's nothing
your
easy,
bike
but
wheelies hard. I mean, it's. I think the biggest thing is there's going to be. I'd like it because I think it's fair. I think like when you come in and you got an 18th gate pick and you go up to your gate and it has a huge rock and a hole in it and you have to climb up a foot, and then the guy right next to you has a nice steady straight thing.
Right.
That sucks. And when it's fair for everyone behind the gate, then it still takes the same technique to get over it.
I didn't realize they did it because they could move the start around
Well, I think
without shooting roost into the stands. They could put it in different
Oh,
spots.
really?
I read that they did a little bit on racetracks about it. I didn't realize that was even a consideration, but it made a lot of sense. Yeah, it no longer does. They can put the start now closer to the stands and not worry about roost coming off the rear tire and launching 20 rows up in people's faces. I didn't know that. Did not know that.
Yeah, it might make sense, but still, once you hit that plastic and start spinning, and then you hit the dirt, then you're still going to be drawing some roost. We got Cody once asked, is Denny and Cody riding at Winterset? I know I could answer that for Denny, would be a fat no. And I don't have a dirt bike anymore. I'd be a fat no for both of us.
Big fat no for riding dirt bikes.
I've rode twice since July.
But we will be there for the Justin
be
Brayton
there.
Invitational shootout for the Cody Gilmore Breast Midwest Sunday race. And
We already signed you up. Cody's got a 19.
okay.
I would think
Fantastic.
about if we can get Bob Price there, I'd maybe race his 125 two-stroke with him in the 125 class.
You would
And
break
if I
that
could
thing in
battle,
half.
maybe we could put a wager down for me beating Delozer.
They
If we
won't
could
have
battle
that
each
bike
other.
will grenade
That
in
bike
half
wouldn't
a
even
lap.
make half.
We went riding at one time, and B10 was doing heel clickers.
He was doing
and
strippers.
everything.
I cannot believe that thing.
Strippers, everything. That was the night we got tattooed. Bob Price names on
Yeah,
us.
I saw those videos and I'm like, that bike is just screaming.
1986 Yamaha never had a piston in it.
I just can't believe that. Can't be right.
Fresh.
Bob wouldn't know.
And he
how
was,
to
and
put
he
them-
rode for the longest time with those bent bars on the thing.
They're
Remember?
still
They're-
bent
they're
bars.
like-
They're,
they're like
they look
this.
like that guy you just talked about earlier. That Chandler
Oh.
with those bars like this.
But didn't he fix them? Didn't he get a free set? And
Well, we
function?
were in California, and my buddy Hoodie,
Yeah.
with
We used to work for Rhino back in the day and stuff.
What is it? What's that brand you run? The bars.
ODI.
The
Micah.
Micah. And they're like, they hooked Bob up with new bars, everything. He has them on his shelf, I think. New grips. He never put them on.
Never put them on.
Never put them on.
All
Typical Bob. But hey, that does kind of sound fun.
All right,
Maybe-
Jaffo
maybe-
913 wants to go. Should pimp and hoe parties be mandatory the night before a race?
Of course.
I think after every race.
Did he say before? or
Before, I don't know. That's 4 seems a bit much. You might
after?
kill.
I've never been
everybody.
to a pimp and hoe party. I wish I grew up.
You
in the
missed
90s.
out.
I know.
We went every Tuesday night for an entire summer in '96. Fro would come over to National. I was staying at his house. I wasn't racing National at the point. I think I'd quit racing. That was when I stopped racing with Great Western. He would come home on it was actually every Monday night, I think, because he'd come home Monday night after Nationals, and we'd be just chilling, and he'd be like, I don't know if we're gonna get to go out tonight, and then he'd go shower and he'd come back as the limo's ordered. I'm like, okay, and we had our normal limo guy would come every Monday night. MC had his group of guys down there at Canyon Lake they'd all go, like Button, Phil Lawrence, myself. And it was just a shitload of us. And Lebo, Wiggins, Dino, all of us would go. And every Monday night, and we had a limo driver. He would talk like this. He's like, hey, Mr. Fro, what are we going again tonight? And Fro would hand him he had, like when you had like CD disc changers, like the big ones. He's like, oh, what kind of music you want to have tonight, Mr. Fro? And he was always some like Italian, but he was like, he had that voice like I'm gonna Vinny Bombarito, we're gonna kill you, man.
So do you guys run them like SMP suits that have it's not like the
Laser
corduroy,
suits.
but it
Laser
has
suits.
like all the fancy.
I kind of did. We'd go down there, and it would just be face melt of just the hottest women in just the littlest clothes, and we would drink. And they had these suites up in the VIP section, it's a theater, so you had these theater rooms where you sit up there and you could watch with the stage and stuff. And the most debaucherous things would happen in those rooms.
Like what?
I don't even want to say.
Come on, that's an absurd after party.
Well, it was before
Absurd after-
drugs, so it was just a lot of weird sex, I guess, and stuff, and bathrooms, and it was crazy. I'm like, yeah, I can't believe that would happen. And then we'd get back in the limo at 2 a.m. The limo would wait for us, and he'd take us back to the house, drop us off. And that's when, we'd sleep all day, me and Lebo, because we didn't have nothing else going on. And that's when Fro was like secretly getting up at 7 a.m. and running through in the heat, running 5-10 miles and coming back. And we'd wake up, he'd be making breakfast, and be like, we never knew he did all that shit.
So who partied harder, MC or Fro?
I'd say Fro. That's a good question. I don't know. They both partied pretty damn hard for winning it, for being as fast as they were. I mean, they were the 2 fastest guys in the country, in the world at that time, and they were partying their asses off pretty regularly.
Do you think they have better stories than Reed at getting back at 7:30? Or
That's a good one for Chad.
I
think Chad's a little pretty wild life. I think Chad's got some pretty good stories, definitely.
Yeah.
Just the times we've hung out with him and ran into him after supercrosses and went back to his suite and everybody's partying and hanging out a little bit. And our old Vegas parties, I went to his championship party in Vegas when he had a bowling alley in his room that Aspen had thrown for him. And it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to, someone said today, they're on one of your posts, they're calling you out, telling you how much faster the speed is today, how much more talented the riders are, how much faster the bikes are. I'd give them one of that. Yes, the bikes are faster.
Oh yeah.
I
used to jump 5 feet.
Riders are any more talented today than they used to be.
No
I
way.
think personally, the talent was probably better back in your guys' day. You guys had less of a bike. You had worse suspension. You didn't have as much technology.
Nor
you guys
tracks.
actually had to make up the difference in your own riding.
2 strokes were a lot. I mean, 2 strokes.
Way tougher to ride than 4 strokes.
I mean, you could see that when you watch the straight rhythm this last year, that you make a little bit of a mistake on a 2-stroke. It's emphasized so much because you just can't grab a whiskey throttle and make up the difference you just lost.
Exactly.
Like you fuck up in a corner, coming out of a corner before a triple or some whoops on a 2-stroke, you then are screwed to that section.
And you're not making the jump.
You're not making a jump. You're not getting to the whoops. A 4-stroke, you mess up in the corner. As long as you got another 12 inches before the next section, you just grab a throttle. And that's not saying I'm not sitting on the bike and turn the throttle, but the 4 strokes, the power gets you out of a lot of trouble. It can get you into some trouble as well because it's a lot of power. But the 2 strokes are definitely, Ricky and he would send me a message one day. He was laughing about, how hard we had to try to, on a 125 to clear the triples.
Yeah.
You know, and you would come out of that corner as fast as you can and just lift as hard as you could and just hope you made the thing. And the two or three guys on 125 who were making it usually won that night. You know, I mean, there wasn't all the guys making it. Never in a supercross like it is these days where 95% of the people are doing every single section.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Denver, I think everybody on that track did every single section. Like the guy in 18th in the 250 last chance was doing the exact same rhythm section as the guys that were winning.
Yeah. You have
Except
to
maybe that
do
one triple that Tomac was doing, but that never happened back in the day.
No, it's like that was what was fun about watching you guys back in the day. The top guys would be doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
that was what's fun about watching RC
and Stewart. Oh man, amazing! Watch what that guy could just uncork.
It don't happen anymore. But the thing is,
it's not the tracks. I mean, I don't blame the riders. I think the tracks, they just sometimes they're just making them too. Which I'd rather the tracks be easier and have all 20 guys there be at the end of the season. It's something too dangerous that's getting guys hurt. Yeah. You know, and I
mean, the tracks were way gnarlier in the early 2000s. Some things they're
just really weirdly made. They just weren't shaped really well. They're like in the 90s, dude, the tracks would be, the whoops were square. They weren't, you had different builders at different sections, different parts of the country, different promoters. So the tracks were built so much differently. So you couldn't really find a rhythm from one city to another.
You guys rode them on all day Friday also. So
we had a pretty good press days on Friday and stuff to get them kind of down. But then I just watched the St. Louis 96 Supercross with Fro.
That's a good one.
When Fro had beat MC and broke the record, which was interesting. I didn't realize that the date pitted inside that night because they were in box trucks. Jeremy did. And he was more kind of got hassled and was like, he wasn't able to stay away from kind of the media and stuff where Fro would be able to hide in his truck a little bit. And I guess Jeremy had to go do a meeting with like Coors Light or something with the promoters, got back just in time to get his gear on to go to the main. And Skip was like, yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk and kind of get his head cooled down and stuff, which I thought was a pretty interesting thing. But then back to the tracks, the main started with the track rutted. I mean, the track was hammered when the 250 main started. Like they pretty much cleaned it up, which is good. I prefer that, but I'm just saying when you start the main and you're already hitting ruts on the triples and the little rhythm sections, it makes for a long. Just imagine how now it gets 20 laps later,
Yeah. I mean, the tracks definitely still get beat up though. That's
28 laps with a 450.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know why they're going to times for and they're running 28 laps. It's ridiculous.
That really chunks out of track, and that's where you see. I like to see the talent today of them figuring out who finds the best line quicker, gets out of their main groove. Yeah, we're not bashing today. We're just comparing different times.
No, I mean, I raced it. I don't race anymore, but I mean, a year or two ago.
It's just different times and how different things.
Like, I would rather tell you that I'm way better. Our generation is way better.
Right.
Than you, but just being honest, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, to say that just because I raced in the 90s you're calling out, you're telling Fro and MC where they're less talented than the guys today. Man, that can be a fucking break.
Yeah, I think you ask any of the top guys.
Or Dogger and RJ Wardy raced in the 80s or slower or less talented than the guys today. Yeah, I still find it hard to believe that people want to say that the kids today work harder than O'Mara and Wardy and RJ. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Or Stan, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I heard them guys send it.
They were animals. Or Barnett or Hannah. Barnett would race and would ride out in the country, I guess, until he ran out of gas and pushed his bike. I mean, it's kind of like, was it a wife so not? Like push his bike through the valley, so he could fill it back up and then go back out and do it again.
That's gnarly. I
mean, who knows? But don't tell me today's kids work harder than those type of people did. They definitely worked harder than I did, but I'll take that.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of a point that I wanted to make. Just reading the keyboard warriors on your Instagram, Debo. And the guys that are saying, hey, you're giving AC shit for his colossal fuck up in Vegas. And, they're coming back with, well, what have you done? And let's see if you can do better, blah, blah, blah. Well, one thing these guys don't know is that you are, in fact, a champion. Secondly is, you're a 1990 Supercross champion. Things have changed since then. Bikes changed, gear changed. Everything has changed since then, except for one thing, and that is the first guy that checkered flag enough times throughout the season is the fucking champ.
Still got to ride the bike, man.
Yeah.
No matter how the track is, no matter how the bike is.
That is a constant that remains the same all throughout the decades of racing.
And that's why you can love generations of generations, and you can't really compare it. But bottom line, you had to ride the damn dirt bike, and when the gate drops, a gate drop is just the same then as it is today.
Yeah, exactly.
And putting your 20 laps is the same as it was then as it is today. no matter what the bike is. Yeah.
So I was reading that kind of chuckling to myself. I mean, you're more than qualified to have that.
I just kept asking, like, what? It's not a pissing contest. I'm not trying to compare myself
No.
to these guys. I still can have a fucking opinion.
You're an accredited analyst of the sport, in my opinion.
I appreciate that. So fuck off if you're out there questioning.
Yeah, fuck you.
I'm kidding. Chad wants to know what a peach tastes like. Man, Stan got us so high that day at Millville. What's a peach taste like, man? Don't ever let Stan greet you in the morning with a
brownie.
With a brownie
Yeah.
or a vape or a pen or a vape pen.
Stanley Farms brownie.
Stanley Farms. Let's see what this next one is. What do you think that, from Bandola 410? What do you think about? Oh, I already asked him that one. What the fuck? Oh, Bread Chart. What is the greatest challenge for a young amateur transitioning into the pros? Is turning pro in the outdoors the best way?
Probably. It depends on what you grew up riding. If you've done arena cross for a few years, if you've done, you know what I'm saying? I think for most kids these days, yeah, doing outdoors first is going to be, because they don't really race anymore. They sit at their training facilities. They do their whole thing.
Well, I don't even think. What about the Euro guys? Look at Covington coming in and Hunter.
Yeah. Which we haven't got to see how Hunter's.
Stop bringing Euro guys over and throwing them straight into Supercross. That's the stupidest thing ever. Not that they're Euros. You got an Aussie and Americans been gone, but stop bringing guys in from the GPs and throwing them their first year in the Supercross, but then they just kill themselves. But then they enter the outdoors either hurt with no confidence.
Yeah.
And the entire reason you brought them over here is now completely been ruined.
Done. Yeah.
Right.
And if you're from France and you're Ferrandis or someone, they're good. They're good Supercross guys.
They ran out of series. Yeah.
If you're from Germany, look at Ken Roxon. He grew up. They have a good Supercross series over there, which is more like arena cross tracks. But it kind of depends. But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. But man, for a first year, for most rookies, go outdoors, man. Give yourself a little bit of lenience, because Supercross is tough.
Like Justin Cooper did, and I think Marchbanks did last year, right? Didn't they both do that?
I think I'm not sure if what Cooper's good. Cooper's good Supercross. Like that story I told you the other day. We were in Milestone riding, I think that's 2 or 3 years ago, getting ready for Monster Cup, and I'm out there, and there's Cooper's out there, and he was an amateur kid getting ready for that 125 race or whatever that All Stars race Cup, is. Right? And he is out there spanking on me on pretty much dang near all the pro guys that were riding at Milestone.
Really?
And there were some good guys out there that day. And I'm like, dang, this kid is good. And I'd never even heard of him. I was so impressed. And this was when he was still amateur. I'm like, man, this kid's going to go do some damage in Supercross. And he's proved that he can do good.
I mean, this is theoretically his rookie year. You know, I mean, I guess rode one race last year. So I was a little surprised that they gave Marchbanks a rookie of the year, because I assumed that Cooper was. But I guess our friend Who's had said he'd raced one race last season, so he was no longer considered a rookie. But in mental aspect, he was a rookie this year, and he rode well. I mean, he got a second behind Sexton. I think he could succumb to some of the pressure at the end of the season. But again, he had a full season outdoors, which gives you so much confidence coming in. I think that helps tremendously. So,
what did you do? What was your first pro race?
My very first pro race was an outdoor. My very first pro race was Millville in '86, I think it was. I just turned 16. I think I just won. I just won schoolboy maybe at Loretta's. So I think I was turning pro. I don't remember, but I thought I was going to run top 50. It was when Bader Monet, Talon Volan, or Tyson Volan with the DMC. Remember the DMC had his own team, their own team of that was like there's 125 support team for Kawasaki. And they'd kind of take me under their wing, and I went up there and rode on practice with them, and I could keep up and run with any of them. I'm thinking, man, top 15 this weekend, no problem. Yeah. First national, I'm going to crush it. Millville, local track, a little bit local. I proceeded to crash in that qualifier. Proceeded to crash in my last chance qualifier. Didn't even make them. Didn't even make the motos.
Oh man!
I walked around with my buddies all day watching the races, so pissed off. So the next national I rode was San Antonio. The next year it was 115 degrees, so hot, and it rained all day, all morning, and all night before. And when we walked the bikes in, I qualified for the motos that day, and when we were walking the bikes in the very outside, it packed the line. And my dad's like, hey, why don't you start on the very outside with the gates packed, where the line's all packed, instead of in the middle where the better spot is, but it's all mudded and rutted. Yeah. And my dad, like, again, good old drag racer, very, very wise on how to start, the technique, the layout of it. And he had watched it. He's watched everybody push their bikes down the outside, pack it all down for everybody. Almost kind of like RJ when he jumped on the grass there at that Florida GP. And so I'm like, okay, let's try it. I jump all the way out that outside gate, and man, I fucking come out of that gate like a rocket and just come across everybody in the whole shot in my very first moto, and let it. Then I crashed, and like 3 corners later, tipped over, and then ran 3rd for most of the national, and then up 5th, my very first national. So
Right.
that, and that's it's kind of like it is today now. So you had like 30 minutes between the motos, right between they called you. And I remember laying in the pits with ice packs on my body, dying, and they're like, first horn, like, let's go, man. Time to race second moto. And I'm on the gate cramping. And I ended up going 5:16 that day for like 8th overall or something. And then later got into supercross. So again, good point. Yeah, I think outdoors was definitely a much easier way to throw yourself into the deep end.
Yeah.
Than supercross. Even though I rode a lot of outdoors or supercross kind of as a kid of jumps,
Yeah, I think growing up around here, you kind of race a lot of fair type tracks, stadium type tracks. So it's, we're a little more accustomed to supercross style.
Gunner's on here.
What's he up to?
He just says,
I've
"What's up?"
I've seen a MX Culture on there. He asked where we blew.
Never
him
saw
off.
him all weekend again.
But pretty sure he does his own thing to make sure he blows us off. I think
Never
he's
saw him all
scared.
weekend in Vegas
He's
again.
scared. He knows he's scared.
That guy. What?
No,
Derringer.
Derringer. Yeah.
Never saw him all weekend again. Never saw him in Denver. Never saw him in Minneapolis.
He doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. My
What do we
buddy,
got for another question here?
let's wrap one up. Do one
what
more.
about chicken? We talked to chicken a little bit this weekend.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Remember that? I was
Briefly.
texting with them a little bit. I tried getting chicken to Vegas. Supposedly, you can't leave the state of California anymore.
That's a whole nother story right
Oh
there.
man.
I kind of go. I think that might go back to getting married for the 8th time. Yeah, I think I said that when he got married the 8th time. I guess it's not going to end well. That's all I
He
can
said,
say.
he didn't want to go to prison for 6 months or years or whatever it was. I'm like, screw it. You can come to Vegas, hang out with the crew for at least 1 week.
They'll never know.
They won't know. You think they're
They probably have some type of risk on him. I mean, he's such a madman. They probably have an ankle bracelet on the guy.
They could.
Okay,
I
from-
heard he's in a Lambo now.
I don't even want to talk his damn cars. C. Pearson 305. Did Cody at least give the bum a couple bucks after making him fountain his twisted tea?
So that was a good story. We're walking, and I'm like, this is after I'd already gone to bed.
Better than that. You're hot.
And
Thank you.
Checker shows up in a room with 6 people partying. And this is like 2 in the morning, something, I don't know, maybe 1.
Was this Hard Rock or was this?
This is Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday
You were
night.
gone. You were
Oh
out
yeah.
looking for yellow.
I already went to
Passion
bed.
or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I went looking for.
And
Yellow Bear again.
so yeah, I'm like, hey, you better film this. I'm gonna go get this dude to chug this beer or something. And so you go up to him, and he's down. He's like, he takes his shirt off. He gets on the floor. He's like ready.
Where is this guy?
On top of some walkway, a walkway going over.
Oh, well, the
strip.
overpass is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
You're just chilling, sitting there.
so, anyways, yeah, pouring the twisted tea in his mouth, and he's sending it, and we leave, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna bring you a 12-pack back. Just screw it, just messing with him a little bit. We walk,
Because you're an asshole.
we end up leaving, and like there ain't no I was actually gonna buy him a 12.
Oh yeah, there's no liquor stores
And-
anywhere really.
I couldn't find. I don't know. We just didn't see one.
No, they're
So,
hard.
anyways, we're walking back. We kind of start coming back towards where he was, and there's this food place that smelled awesome. My buddy Dan, he's like, dude, I'm gonna get something to eat. I'm like, I'm gonna buy old boy something to eat at least.
Awesome.
So I buy him this big old $15 meal that was like awesome. We go up there. I go to give it to him. The dude's gone. So
He'd
the
bail.
food went to waste. I think I got 3 bites of it. I can't eat when I'm in Vegas.
No.
I left it in the hotel room. But yeah, I didn't give him a few bucks, but I did buy him a meal.
Very nice. But he wasn't there later.
He wasn't there to get.
So he
it.
downed to the twisted tea then that you had or something?
Well, I only gave him half. I didn't want to spend it all.
Let's not
from,
give it all
from
away.
the snap that I saw, most of it didn't go in his mouth. Basically, it looked like he got waterboarded with twisted tea.
The last time it went up his nose pretty bad. I'm like trying to get it into his mouth, and
Everywhere but
that's
his
how
mouth.
that.
He
And it's
got
going it's like
waterboarded.
this, laying on the ground, and it's pouring straight up his fucking nose.
Horrible.
It was great. It was. That was
Why is
pretty
that
funny.
place so evil?
I don't know. Someone hit me up on Instagram. They're like, "Yo, I'm from Vegas. I've seen that guy out and about too before."
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. He was pretty. He took one for the team though. It was cool.
The problem, and I said 1,000 times about not going, the lights never come on. No one ever tells you to go home. So you don't. You just like, where do we go next? Like, where do you go next? Okay, well, we're done here.
You guys made your flights though, right?
I definitely made my
Well,
flights.
at least you got that going for you.
I got home finally, I think at 2:00 on Sunday or Monday morning. Our flight, I waited up at 5 for a 7 a.m. flight. I finally laid down for like the first time all weekend. And all of a sudden I'm out, and all of a sudden I feel Jess or Lynn's like waking me up, and Chad's still out. Chad won't get up at all. He's like, "Rawr, rawr, you don't want to mess with that guy, angry bear." And so he finally got up, and I remember my body just going, "What have you done to me?" My hips hurt, my calves hurt, my feet hurt. My feet hurt because we were jumping around like
Your
idiots at
body's
the
like,
at the
"Again,
pool, at the pool, like jumping around. Cody and I were doing a fake photo shoot. We saw these two girls like they were Instagram models or something.
Yeah, they're doing full blown photos.
And so they're up at the up on this like balcony, not balcony, little couple steps up, and they're doing poses and they're taking pictures of each other. They're doing a back art. So Cody and I decided to do our own photo shoot. I'm like, Cody, you got to go up there, dude. I'm gonna take photos of you. And so Cody's fucking goes against the glass. He's doing back arches. I'm jumping around and spinning and stuff. I do like a big spin, like action picture with him.
Are
And
these the underwater photos?
this was
different.
no, we did underwaters later, but this was straight up like, just ridiculing. Like,
Right, just like this. Like he's Denny on his picture down here. And
like straight.
he's bending over down here.
What's the
you
movie?
guys are butt models.
What's the movie? With Ben Stiller.
Yeah, Zoolander.
Zoolander, straight Zoolander. Him and I, like, it was just, but it was action blue steel. There was the angry dragon look. It was just, yeah. And I had jumped off wanted to full action one barefoot and just dug my toes in the ground. And my feet that next day, I'm like, I don't even think I can walk. Vegas is partying is way harder than racing.
It takes a toll on you for sure.
It takes a toll on you.
But I think it's safer when you are racing because you don't have the first full night.
Yeah.
Friday night.
You basically just had Saturday night and Sunday night.
You get an extra 12 hours of sleep because I don't know. I know you didn't get any sleep. I
Not
think
much.
I might have got 2 or 3.
Maybe 4 over the whole weekend, and I think we ate twice.
Yeah.
The day we got there, and then the night we left.
I think tonight was my first full meal back, thanks to Chad.
That's raw tuna you had was real nice. Oh, let's talk about the fact you almost got married.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
I forgot about that. We're almost ready to sing up. We're an hour and a half in. We're running a little longer tonight because fuck, it's Vegas with tons of shit. You almost got married, or you wanted to get married.
It sounded like an awesome.
Chad's
idea
like,
at
dude,
first.
I will pay for the wedding, but you're paying for the fucking divorce. And you're like,
it was my goal.
and you're like, you won't do it. You won't do it. And you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And then you start calling people. I'm getting married. Yeah, we called.
I invited a bunch of people.
We called Caitlin or whatever, and you're like, we're getting married, baby. Go go find a white dress.
Yeah, it was I'm pretty anti-marriage, but for some reason Vegas sounded like a fun time to get married. And I didn't know if is it official if you actually go to the chapel and get married, but you don't go to the
I don't know. When I was with Chicken, like I said, and they had to go to the courthouse. We stood at a courthouse for an hour while they got the license and stuff. So I don't think you can just go to the Benihana with Elvis and get married. I don't know. You can't. I don't think you have to go to the courthouse to get some type of license. I thought I might be wrong.
I don't know, but if that would have happened, that would have definitely put an end to it. But I still missed it. We missed my wedding.
I
Maybe
think
next time.
You were so fired up, like you were literally walking, inviting people, pulling them in, like, hey, you want to come? I'm getting married tonight. Just random people, and then you're texting everyone that's in Vegas. I'm getting married. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, damn it, why don't you support my decisions?
I mean, man,
And then
the Vegas hangover would be a lot worse
if you came home married.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would believe it. I wouldn't believe it myself.
I don't think you would believe it. You would have to definitely videotape it.
Gosh, it did sound fun though. Maybe next.
You were
time.
so excited for it, yeah. Until we went and sat at dinner, and then she showed up, and I think the reality kicked in. And she goes, "Hi," and that voice she's got.
Wait, who was this chick, anyways?
Caitlin from Buffalo.
She was about to be my wedded.
Caitlin Gilmore. What's her? I wouldn't say her last name. It's not. But yeah, she had flown in to hang out with Cody, and by the end of the weekend, he was ready to marry her. Although I know they didn't really hang out. He probably avoided her the entire weekend, and then decided, well, you know what? I don't really want to hang out with her here, but I think an entire life with her will be wonderful.
Right. Vegas decisions, man. They're
Decision making
they
is.
come in. I think Checkers was down for me to get married.
Well, Checkers was excited to be the best man
He
because
was excited.
he wanted he wanted to wear a tuxedo, and you were really fired up. Really fired up.
I don't know what I would have wore, but I would have looked.
Not that fucking shirt you made me wear Saturday. I hope
You
actually had it
we
on.
were in flower. Oh yeah, I wore the shirt.
You
Yeah,
were wearing that
I
at that
did wear
time.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I brought Debo a shirt. I I bought a flower shirt. I
I
already
thought
had a
I
flower
thought the shirt Debo was wearing was yours.
It was. I brought it for him.
Right.
He did.
I told him like Debo,
And you
have
were
to
wearing
wear it.
something
Do
similar.
you know how
right?
many babes were coming up to the party? At
I
him,
see. I thought
telling him,
he did
"Hey,
come up
you
to me
look
and I
good in
did.
that
And
shirt."
it
I
invoked
only told
a
him
giant
one- I only
smile in
told-
Eli
I-
Tomac.
I
Well,
told
whether-
one
That's what
chick,
that
I
did.
said,
It invokes
hey,
it.
tell me I have a nice shirt. And
I mean,
then her
that-
friends were like, hey, that is a nice
They
shirt.
come up and I'm like, fuck you. Don't be an ass. Don't just, and then it just went, it made things worse. I'm like, I should have said, well, thank you. It's very nice of you to say. Instead, it just made me mad that they'd said that because I knew you told them to say it. And it was I felt so uncomfortable in it all night. It's kind of like when you, when you have to go to like church or something when you're a kid and they put you in a tie or something. I was just like, this is terrible.
You rocked it, though. You did rock it all night.
I did. I rocked it. No, till we got back after that. And then I changed and then we went back out at like 5 or something somewhere, as we do. Well,
That was a good one, man. That was a good one.
great weekend in Vegas. What do we got going on here? Tell people to share our YouTube channel on social media for a chance to win a set of Fast House gear with your ID.
You just did.
I just did. So I'm telling people to share our YouTube channel on social media for a chance to win a set of Fast House gear, courtesy of Jason Font and my friends at Fast House. They've done a ton of stuff for me over the years. I've known Jason from back in the day when he worked with us at Smith. Dig their style, dig their attitude. Our good friend Tyler Berriman is a Fast House rider who we talked to him a little bit over the weekend. He wants to do a show with us as well and talk some old shit about some freestyle stuff. So that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Vegas was awesome as always. The races were, I don't know, we watched them on TV, which was awesome as well.
They happened.
They went down, but that's never the highlight of Vegas. If you go to Vegas to actually watch the race and consider that the highlight,
Loser.
you're an idiot. And then we went to
the absurd party.
And then we got home Monday, and then last night, Tuesday night, was a Pink concert, which was phenomenal. Thank you to Carrie Hart for the courtesy of that. She crushed it as she always does. And then Wednesday night, we're doing the show. And by tomorrow, I don't want to have to see any of you ever again.
Yeah, never.
I think
man.
Had my fill.
I'm done with you guys at least until Saturday.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you guys very much. We ran out of time. We didn't get a chance to get Eli Tomac on tonight, so we apologize for that. Maybe next week. Sorry, Eli. We'll talk to you soon.
Bummer.
Thanks for tuning in late.